What is up, everybody? I'm actually in the Stay Paid podcast studio today. It's going to be an amazing Monday. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday already. I'm in the Stay Paid podcast studio. I'm going to start trying to do the show from here. It's higher quality. I realize my office is such terrible quality on that webcam. So I'm going to do it in here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Today I want to talk to you about 3 sales lessons that I have learned over the years of building my own sales team. So you guys know I run a company called ReminderMedia. We have about 175 salespeople now between people calling to close new deals and upselling and all that stuff. So they're on the phones. They're doing presentations every single day. I want to show you just 3 lessons over the years of doing sales myself, building those sales teams, what I have learned that has helped me make millions of dollars. But before we do that, I'm going to cue this intro and I will see you on the other side.
There are no bad businesses. There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
Let's go. Welcome to Monday Mindset. Brian, good to see you, brother. Joe, good to see you. One thing I did not plan for in this studio. How does the studio look? You guys like the studio a lot better than the office, a lot better quality? One thing I did not notice is that the screen is so far away from me. Like I'm squinting trying to read the comments. So I'll have to fix that next time. But Lily's on. So maybe, as she brings the comments up, I can actually see it on the big screen. Okay, want to talk to you. I was thinking today, and actually, truthfully, last night, Ariel chatted me and was like, hey, what's your topic for Monday Mindset? Because she puts together an image for me for my Instagram. And I told her, hey, I want to share just 3 lessons I have learned in sales that have made me literally millions of dollars. And my story goes, right, is ReminderMedia is a company I run. It's about a $70 million company. We have about 330 employees growing fast. We're actually hiring. It's pretty crazy. Right now we're hiring 12 people every 2 weeks minimum for our magazine sales. And we're hiring another 8 a month for our postcard sales. So for those who don't know, we also do direct mail for like postcards and stuff like that. So we're hiring 8 there. And then we have a digital marketing team that we're also hiring a couple people every other month for that digital marketing team. So in all, from a sales perspective, we're hiring like 30 plus salespeople a month right now. And I share that only because, there's just so much advice out there from people. And I always tell people, hey, don't listen to what people say. Look what they do. Because that's truly what they believe. That's a good, valuable lesson for you as a business owner and entrepreneur as you look to take advice from people, which you should, because advice can help advance you down the road and speed up your time of, implementing something. Just make sure you're taking advice from someone who has actually accomplished what you want to accomplish and then also has actually done something. So I'm just going to share with you 3 raw things that came to mind for me when it came to like what makes someone successful in sales. Now I give a big caveat, right? My sales is I'm selling marketing, and I'm selling people like Joe Camper, right? I'm selling people like you, Brian. Meaning I'm reaching out to small business owners in the insurance, real estate, financial advising. We work in about 142 different industries. But this is what I have found really works that I also think would be applicable B2C, business to consumer, which is what you guys are doing. And the first is pretty simple, but it comes down to the number one skill set I look for in a sales closer. And I've learned this one over the years. This was not the beginning one I looked for, but it is the one I look for now. And it is EQ. Specifically, when I say EQ, I mean in terms of understanding how what your words, what you're saying, and your actions, what you're doing, your inflection, how you're saying it, makes another human being feel, and making sure that you can read where the other person is at. I literally just had this conversation with one of my team leads that is a newer team lead for us, and our team leads manage anywhere from 12 to 15 agents on their team. And I was teaching her that one of the mistakes that she was making in training her reps is that she was focused way too much on the technical process of selling and scripting versus the actual, what I call is the essence of the sale. And the essence of the sale is so much more important. And what I told her is it's like almost like a math equation. You can teach somebody the memorization of how to solve a math problem, but they can only solve that math problem. But if you teach them the formula, the methodology, then they can solve any math problem. And when you're teaching a salesman or really anybody in anything, you want to teach people what I call is the essence, the formula, the thing that they can go back to, the principles, you might call them in certain aspects of your business. You want to teach them that. And so what I was sharing with her is like, hey, what you're not training on is you keep going down to the technical viability of what the person's doing. Hey, step one in the intro, you didn't create intrigue, and then you didn't have empathy, and then you need to do this. And the sales caller's sitting there taking their notes. Okay, I got to do this. I said, your problem there is they're going to get on the next call, and they're going to be thinking in so many steps that they're not going to connect at all. And they're going to think there's a magic road to get them a deal. And as long as I've been in sales, there's no magic formula to close a deal, just like there's no magical fundamentals of basketball that's going to win you a championship. There's fundamentals that get you on the court, but ultimately, you've got to add your finesse, your talent, your skill set. You're a sales professional, so you have an innate ability or a skill set that you got to apply. So what do I mean by EQ? Here's the question you should ask yourself to train yourself on selling. If you record your calls, pull up one of your calls and do this. Go through, and what I like to do is I play a call for a caller. And we'll get, who knows how long in, a minute in, 2 minutes, it doesn't matter, right? We get to a certain point, and I pause, and I go, hey, tell me what the prospect is feeling right now. Tell me what they feel. Tell me how you're coming across to them. Tell me what they are feeling in this moment. Because the better you can get at training your brain to understand what someone else is feeling by what you are doing, the more power you have to actually reach that individual. So don't focus on, I got to get in, do my intro, do step 1, step 2, step 3. Actually focus more on, hey, how am I making this prospect feel? And that's nuanced, and it's case by case, because I might have called Joe Camper and he might be in the car. I might have called Brian and he might be headed into a meeting. Those are going to be two completely different feelings from those two individuals based upon the context of what's happening to them in their day. And you as a salesman have to put yourself in that person's shoes. This applies to marketing. If you want to get really, really good at marketing, here's the big mistake people make out of the gate. They market based upon where they're at and what they want to achieve versus where the target audience is at and what they want to achieve. It's a totally different mindset. You have a marketing budget you're spending to get in front of people, and the way you design your copy, design your ads, oftentimes, if you haven't stopped and thought about it, it's actually coming from what you perceive to be valuable, what you want to actually get. Where the greatest marketers try to put themselves in the audience shoes. They try to understand, who is my ideal prospect? Who are they? Like, we have so many different buyer personas that we've put down on paper here at ReminderMedia to understand the prospect. Perfect example, right? We sell a lot to real estate. The average real estate agent is not a 35-year-old white male, right? The average real estate agent is like a 55-year-old woman. So once you understand that, you understand, hey, the majority of people you're going to be calling, the majority of messaging probably should be geared a little bit more towards that person and what they experience in their life and what they're going through if I want it to resonate. Seems simple, but it is so powerful. So when you do your training, I challenge you, ask yourself, ask the people on your team, hey, pause it. Hey, what's the prospect feeling in this moment? Will you ever reach that prospect if you don't understand how they feel? You'll never reach them. And the reason why you'll never reach them is because you ultimately can't get them to lower their guard because they don't feel like you're listening to them or they don't feel like you're connecting with them, rapport, as Tony Robbins would say. And so therefore you can't share with them how you're going to help them achieve a desired outcome that they want in their life or solve a pain point that they're suffering from. Because that is what sales is. The only reason someone doesn't buy from you is because they don't believe that what you're offering to them will get them a desired result that is good enough for them to pay that amount of money for it, or that will save them from a pain point they're experiencing to pay that amount of money for it. I tell my people all the time, hey, when someone doesn't buy the magazine from you, you know why? Because they saw the magazine. They didn't see a way to help them earn more business. They didn't see a way to help them deposit commission checks in their bank account. And they didn't see that because you were going through giving them a script. You were going through them selling features. Value sells, features tell, right? So you're selling features and people tune you out. You might as well be Comcast. I tell that to my callers all the time. What are you, Comcast here? What are you, Verizon here? Just calling up and selling a bundle, selling features and just trying to compete as a commodity on price? You've got to figure out, hey, how do I connect with this person by first understanding where they're at so I can angle my pitch that way to be able to reach them. It doesn't mean that you're passive. I'll get to my second tip in a second. And you'll see what I mean by that. It doesn't mean that you're passive. Doesn't mean that you're just trying to be buddy on every call. It could be that you understand immediately by the tone of their voice and they're headed into a meeting. Hey, I got to be succinct, to the point, confident, and deliver my value in 30 seconds so this person listens. A golden rule in sales, at least on my perspective, right? This is only Luke's take, so take it or leave it. Whatever you feel the prospect is feeling, say that to them. I mean that. Whatever you feel the prospect is feeling, say that to them. When I'm on the phone with somebody and I feel they feel pressured, I tell them, hey, I know you might be feeling pressured right now. That is not my intent. It immediately takes away that ability for them to run out the door with that objection. You want to say to that person what they're feeling. If you don't think someone's paying attention and not listening to you, now there's a tactful way to do this based upon the EQ of understanding who you're talking to, their tone, how fast they're talking to you if you're on the phone, reading their body language if you're in front of them. You want to say to them, hey, I know I've lost you a little bit. Come back to me. My apologies. That's on me. Let me share with you why this is important for your business, why you should pay attention for the next 30 seconds, because I believe in what I'm offering. And I believe I can get you what you need. That would immediately snap people back. But so often what we do in sales is we follow our step-by-step process and we're so scripted that we don't realize, hey, man, one of the most important aspects of being a great salesman is EQ. So that's my first tip is I look for EQ. And specifically, if you're looking for an action item, it's really testing your ability to go, hey, what's the prospect feeling in this moment? When you're giving your presentation, what's the audience feeling? The best public speakers, they look to people in the crowd. And they try to speak to individuals, not the whole audience. And the greatest public speakers are very, very good at spotting individuals all over the place and speaking to each of them. But they don't go out there and generalize. They literally call people out in the crowd. They speak to people in the crowd because they know if I can meet that person where they're at, I can change, obviously, that dynamic and feel and get that person to connect more, which changes the energy in the room, which ultimately, energy is ultimately what moves people. All right, so second tip I will give you that, and I was just trying to brainstorm going, hey, what is it that I'm telling my team leads right now of like what I've seen work in sales? And the second thing is always assume the close. So you have ABC, always be closing, right? Assume the close. Now, there are multiple different closes in a sales pitch, right? But you always want to be assuming the close. Never assume the negative. Always assume the positive. Because what you don't understand is like, I shouldn't say you don't understand, but what a lot of people miss, I think, in like human psychology and who we are as people, most people, we're societal creatures, beings, right? We play follow the leader, right? There's some really cool stuff on YouTube when you look at psychology. There's this really funny one. They did this experiment in a doctor's office, and they basically planted the doctor's office with a bunch of people that are part of the experiment. And a new person comes into the doctor's office for their appointment. And it was like, I forget, every minute or 2 minutes or so, this beep goes off in the doctor's office, and everybody in the doctor's office stands up. And then they sit back down. And you see this new person who's not part of the experiment comes in, they look at the first time it happens and like, what's going on? And the second time they kind of halfway join in and then sit back down. And the third time they start doing it. They play out this experiment. By the time basically the doctor comes out, calls somebody back, right? And so they empty out the whole waiting room of people who were part of the experiment, knew what was going on. And slowly over time, all the people who were coming in for their real doctor's appointments were coming into the waiting room. They eventually got the whole waiting room to be people who were not part of the initial experiment. And all of them were standing up at the sound of that button or that beep or thing that was happening. And why I'm sharing that point is because it should teach you that naturally as human beings, we play follow the leader. So why do I say assume the close? You need to assume, what's up, Tony Merwin? Just saw your comment, man. You need to assume Tony's having a great day. What do I mean by that? It doesn't mean, it's not conflicting with the first point I'm making. It might seem like that at surface level. Hey, you need to understand where Tony's at. Yes, you need to understand where Tony's at so you can speak to them in that instance. And then it's called right match and mirroring, but then it's called pacing, right? If you study these neurolinguistics or whatever it's called, you want to match and mirror to build rapport, to meet people where they're at so they lower their guard. But then you want to pace, which means you want to raise up to where you want to go. You want to move in, assuming the close that this person, hey, this person wants to have an amazing life. This person wants to be filled with joy. This person wants to have an incredible day. This person wants to change their life. Like if you are speaking with that and how you talk. So a perfect example, if I'm breaking this down from a sales pitch perspective, I think of like our magazine, and it's like, I'm going to tell people when I ask them and I go in, hey, it's, about referrals, and I go through my what, and then I ask them, hey, it's not a question of should you send something to your clients to generate referrals. It's just, what do you send? That's the $1 million question, because you already know you're probably sending something today. You already know you should send something to your database to stay top of mind and get referrals. But what do you send that is the highest quality, that, get this, your recipients actually like receiving? 2, is automate it for you so you don't have to do anything, saves you time. And then 3, actually gets you a referral. Have you ever heard of American Lifestyle Magazine? And then here's the key point that I'm making. Then I'll go, oh my gosh, you are going to love this. This is going to blow your mind. We are having unbelievable success with this. You're going to see why. So if you notice in my language, what I'm doing is, you're going to love this. This is going to blow your mind. We are having so much success, and you're going to understand why. You are assuming the close that Tony Merwin's going to love this magazine. Assuming the close that Tony Merwin's it's going to blow his mind. Assuming the close that Tony's going to see why this is changing so many lives. When you speak in that way, when you assume the close, it's not just about assuming the close on the credit card, which is the most important, right? Assuming the deal, but it's assuming that this person is going to love what you're talking about. And that also can be translated to speaking with authority on your subject matter, because when you speak with authority, it displays confidence. And we all know that when you speak with confidence, it displays competence to people. And if you don't have confidence, tongue twisters here. If you don't have confidence in what you're saying, it usually is because you haven't done your training, right? You don't know your stuff inside and out. So if you want to assume the close in everything you do, you got to have absolute confidence in what you're doing, which means you have to be competent, which means you have to train. The average person doesn't even train 30 minutes a day. You know it and I know it. But if you want to be elite in this life, if you want to live in the 1% and not be like the 99%, you got to train. You got to wake up and train. How many of you guys have been up? I saw Tony Merwin's post on Facebook. I think this is day 35 for him, where he's doing his diet and health kick thing. I don't know, Tony, chat in. Are you going to the gym, or what are you doing there? Because I don't know if are you doing 75 hard? I'm thinking about doing 75 hard again. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know if it's the healthiest. I'm on a diet right now. I bet this guy $5,000 towards charity that I would. Well, he bet me, and I took the bet that he would have a better six-pack than me by May 24th. So I bet him it's $5,000. We're going to donate it to charity. He pays $5,000 or I pay $5,000. And Brian Moore, day 35 of 75 hard. Love it. So hold me accountable to that. That's May 24th. You guys will tell, because the loser has to post it on social media that they lost, and I don't want to lose. So I'm not eating. I'm trying to get to the gym. But anyways, assume the close in everything you're doing. And you need to look at your pitch, and you need to ask yourself, where am I assuming the close? In each avenue of my pitch, or pillar of your pitch, or road process, whatever you call it, you need to make sure you're assuming the close. Third thing that I would share with you, and this would be the third and final thing that has really, really helped me in sales and leading sales teams. And this one, you have to live out, which is you can't control the result. You can only control the activity. You can't control the results. Ultimately, you can only control the activity. And once you understand that you can control the activity, then you understand what you need to do and wake up every day doing. You need to wake up every day with a plan, with intentionality of understanding what activity produces what result. Even though I ultimately can't control the result, right? Because the numbers are going to be averages, but I can control the activity. So what do I mean by that? Hey, my 175 salespeople, we have what we call our KPIs, which are their goals, and then we have their MPRs, which are their minimum performance requirements. Minimum to be on our team, you either have to do 200 dials a day, 4 hours of phone time, or close 3 new deals. If you do not do that every single day, you will end up on a PIP, a performance improvement plan, or if you're just outright refusal, we just get rid of you. But you have to do that minimum activity. Why? Because when you sign up for our team, we understand the one thing that you can control and the one thing you can commit to and the one thing that's not rocket science is you can actually swing the hammer. You can get up every day and you can put in the right activity. You might not be able to control the result ultimately, right? You're going to have to work on your talent. You're going to have to get better. Frequency creates greatness. So that's why we want the activity to be there, right? But not everybody, I'm just being real, not everybody is cut out for sales, man. I've hired a lot of people, and the majority of people are not cut out for sales. A lot of people say they can train anybody to be a salesperson. Please come train me because I haven't figured that out yet. I want to figure that out. I just haven't been able to figure it out. But I'm telling you right now, what I force my team to do is, hey, you better have 4 hours of phone time, 200 dials, or 3 new deals. You better have one of those a day, because if you don't have the deals, which is ultimately what we want you to have, then I need to look, and I hope you have the phone time, because I'd rather you call 50 people and talk to people for 4 hours than call 300 or 200 people and talk to nobody, right? But the last thing I look at is, did you at least try? And here's the thing. If your people are struggling to actually pick up the phone and dial, and here's a really good hack that you can test them on. Do they do a double dial, right? Where they call Joe and then they call him again within a few seconds if he didn't answer. A double dial is proven to increase pickup rate by 18%. Some people have moved to the triple dial, right? And what I used to do, now we're virtual, right? So I can't do it behind people now unless I call them up on Teams. But I'll be walking down our call center and I look at a rep and they're just sitting there looking at the activity on their CRM. And I'd be like, hey, the phone's not going to dial themselves. And let me tell you a secret. It doesn't matter how long you look at this person, how much research you do. The ultimate truth is you got to pick up the phone and talk to them. So stop thinking about it, get on the phone, talk to them. And if you think you got to think about it, that means you haven't trained enough, right? And I would push them. And then if somebody doesn't want to do a double dial, did they really actually want the person to answer in the first place? Think about that. If you're not doing a double dial and it increases chances of pickup by 18%, did you even want the person to pick up in the first place? You can control that activity. You can't control if they pick up, but you can control the activity to get you a chance to have a conversation with this person. And if you believe in what you're doing, which will help you assume the close, then you know you're changing lives and you're not ashamed of what you have. If you're ashamed of what you have, where you don't want to double dial somebody, you're probably in the wrong business. Now, I'm not talking about all of us have that fear, that irrational fear of we worry about what other people are going to think about us. We worry about, because we're raised this way, right? We're raised to be polite. We're raised to not bother people. We're raised to stay out of the way, to be quiet, to sit still. All those are good things in certain contexts. I agree with those things. But the reality is if you really want to actually make a movement, if you really want to change your business, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. And so that uncomfort is going, hey, I don't care what this person's going to think, because I know what I have and what I'm offering them will help them from a pain point in their life or achieve a desire that they want. I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm convinced of it. And so I'm going to make the double dial because that's what I want to do. I might not enjoy the double dial, but I'm going to do it because I control that. So those 3 things, do they have EQ? Ask yourself, do I understand what the prospect's feeling? And test yourself on that all the time. Am I thinking about what the prospect's feeling right now? Because if I understand what the prospect's feeling, I can use the words and I can say the things that will help alleviate the things that they're thinking to move them down the funnel. 2, am I assuming the close at every step of the process? Am I assuming that they're going to love this? Am I assuming the positive outcome that they want? You have to go in with that energy. And if you apply the first one first, you'll apply the actual assuming correctly, right? If you know how they're feeling, you'll know how to assume, but you always want to be assuming the positive outcome for them. And then number 3, hey man, You can control the activity, not the results. You can control the activity. The activity will produce results, but where you need to focus is in that activity. What's your minimum performance requirements? You got your goal every single day. My people want to close more than 3 deals a day, right? They're putting that out as a goal, but what is the minimum that they're going to commit to today that they know they have to hit to earn a spot on this team, to play for this team, because we're a championship team. Hope you guys got something out of that. I appreciate you so much. Hope you like the studio too. It's a little bit strange for me because the screen's so far away, so I can't really see your chats as well. I'm going to have to fix that for next time. But I appreciate you. I hope you get out there and win for your clients, win for your family, win for your friends. Let's make it happen in this Monday Mindset. Let's have a great day, and I will see you guys next week. See ya.